Yeah, how's that for a rock star entrance?
Perfect. How you doing this morning?
I'm doing well. Well, thanks. Well, ladies and gentlemen, first of all, welcome to the show, the Wise Agent Society Sharpen the Saw. Today's special guest is Martin Tumayan, straight out of Las Vegas, Nevada, commercial agent extraordinaire. And thanks so much for coming on the show, dude.
Thank you for having me, brother. This is great. This is my first podcast, actually.
Is it?
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad to be the one to break you in.
That's it. Wouldn't want it with anybody else.
Yeah, well, that's sweet. The cool thing about this one is it's I don't know, it's pretty relaxed. I guess I've only been on a few other ones myself, and I mean, I guess they're all pretty relaxing. And if you have a good friend and somebody that you're just going to kind of chat with, that just makes it easy.
Hey, that's it for sure.
Yeah. So before we get into the show and stuff, we were just talking about here in Iowa, we got about, I don't even know, 7, 8, 9 inches of snow, and it's still snowing. But I've been seeing all over people posting on about Las Vegas. What'd you say the temp was when you got up at 5 a.m.?
25 degrees, man. It's cold. This body isn't made for that cold.
Yeah, I saw Albie Voss say that he's moving to Arizona or Hawaii. I don't remember what he said. He's moving out.
I don't blame him. Well, I've been getting ready to kind of transition and move to Mexico, so I think it might happen a little bit sooner.
Is that for real? Is that something you've been thinking about?
Yeah, definitely. I've made some connections with satellite offices and whatnot through Keller Williams, and been buying some property out there. I just love it. 70 degrees year round ain't too shabby.
Wow, that's awesome. I thought that you liked going to. No, is that where you always go to? You're always going to Mexico?
Yeah, doing Playa or Tulum. Cancun, Playa del Carmen, Tulum. Yeah, it's just gorgeous out there, man. This is all the Caribbean side, so the waters. You have turquoise water, white sands.
Well,
I
want to go.
Hey, man, the door would always be open for you.
That's cool, man. I do want to check it out. I've never been. I've been to the staples, like Cabo and then like Baja, but nothing too cool. So definitely need to go.
Well, a cool thing with Tulum, because it's real popular now. They built an airport, and you could actually fly directly into Tulum, and there's nonstop flights through Dallas and some other cities and whatnot. So,
did you say Dallas?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, Vegas still doesn't have the nonstop, but hopefully we'll get it soon.
Cool. I'm taking notes just so you know. So when I'm writing this down so I can plan my itinerary for later.
Nice.
Cool. Well, thanks again for coming on the show today.
My pleasure.
I tell people a little bit about how it's going to look, so that way when they're watching, they're not like, what are these guys talking about? But we'll talk a little bit about how we know each other. You and I go back pretty far, at least 11, 12 years, something like that.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then we'll go into a little bit about your real estate journey, and then we're going to talk about commercial real estate in Las Vegas. So I think that you have a pretty cool story, or I don't know if it's cool or if it's funny or what, about how we met originally. Do you want to tell the story?
It was kind of a weird meeting. I was actually kind of having an interview per se with the old team leader, CEO of KWLV, which happened to be an old broker of mine when I first started my real estate journey. His name was Gene Friedman. I started with Prudential Americana in 2001. So, we were friends, colleagues, and I was sitting in his office, getting to know what's up with KW. You're just hearing so much. And the funny thing was, initially I told him, look, don't try to recruit me. Let's just sit down, catch up and whatnot. But the company really intrigued me. So then all of a sudden there's this guy, a cocky little guy, not little, but that's you, just walked into the office, into our meeting. And I'm like, okay, this is pretty interesting. You had that confidence today, man. I'm here. I want to talk about real estate. And that was our first, interaction together. I think you even sat down during my meeting with him and started, talking. I'm like, okay, this is interesting.
That is
Well, at
so
least,
funny.
that shows that you're not going to have fear in a business, which is good.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if that's ignorance or what, but honestly, a few things. First of all, we've talked about this story multiple times, and
Uh-huh.
I don't know that I remember the part that you weren't even at the office yet.
No, no, no. I wasn't at the office yet. We technically kind of started at the same time with KW.
I didn't
Uh-huh.
realize that. For some reason,
Yeah.
I thought, because I did know that you and Gene were, had history and whatever. So I just kind of, I don't know. I assumed that you were already there.
Uh-huh.
And so here's the thing. So when I started at that office, I'd already been technically hired by Rob Jensen. So,
Oh, okay. Uh-huh.
so he's like, okay, I did an extensive interview process with him and all that. And then he's like, okay, so at this date, this time, you have a meeting with Gene Freeman. And
Uh-huh.
I said, okay. I really just assumed that, and I didn't know who you were either. So I didn't know if you were part of the interview process for me, So I think it was just like this miscommunication thing, but it was pretty funny.
No, that was funny. It was cool. Then,
Cool.
yeah, we pretty much started our KW venture together.
Yeah. Yeah. That was
More or
a
less, yeah.
great office. Still is a great office, but I mean, that was the old school office. Of course, the new office of Debbie's Voices is so pretty and cool and
Uh-huh.
collaborative. Do you still have a private office in there?
Yes, definitely. Don't go as much, but yeah, it's still been there since day one.
Yeah. And you're still working with your brother too?
Yeah, he focuses predominantly on the residential aspect of our business. I'm having him slowly transition. So if I do, really make that move to Mexico, I want him to take over the commercial business.
Yeah,
So,
very, very cool. Well,
yeah,
cool.
and pretty fortunate. It's fun working with him.
Yeah, well, you're both great dudes, and
Thanks.
that makes it a little easy. I'm glad that you guys have a great relationship because when did he get started in working with you? It wasn't right away.
About 6 years ago.
Okay.
6, 7 years ago. Yeah, I had been hounding him for years. He's got a great personality, and he's like a big teddy bear. People love him.
Yeah.
So I'm like, dude, this is the business you need to get into. He had launched some, multiple businesses in the past. He's just he's a bull. He puts his head down and he, attacks anything that needs to be done. So it's great to have him on my side. But he's a lovable guy, man. I think people like him more than me. Some of my own clients like him, I think, more than me.
That's like Jen and me, my wife, when we're out places. People are like, well, we're only here to hang out with Jen. I mean, it's great you came too.
Yeah.
Like, hey.
It's great you came. You can pick up the check. We want to catch up with your wife.
Yeah, exactly. I'm like, you jerk, man, what the heck? No, but George is a great guy. Love that guy. And
thanks, brother.
Glad that you guys are doing well. So okay, let's just move that into then. So you said you started at Prudential, or where did you start, and then when did you get into? Were you in commercial the whole time? Like, tell us a little bit about your
No. I got into real estate in 01. Was with a company called Prudential Americana, who now is Berkshire Hathaway, just to kind of paint the picture.
Okay.
Started residential. I knew nothing of the business. The only thing I knew about real estate was that, hey, I like houses, and it's kind of cool. that was it. Had no desire, or didn't even really know anything about commercial real estate. So did residential for a while. It took me about 6 months to really get into the groove, and liked
It's
it.
pretty
I liked
fast, actually.
You know what?
It takes 6 years and they're not in the groove yet.
Yeah, but I'm a little different, man. It's like I want everything, so I know it's not going to be given to me, so I'm going to hustle and get it. And that was the mentality. Don't get me wrong; those 6 months were miserable. There were times that I'm like, what am I doing? What's going on? But then all of a sudden, when it clicks, you build that momentum. It's just phenomenal. And then you just have to ride that wave. Yeah. So loved it. I loved residential. Residential actually made me a ton of money. Met a lot of great people, and started investing myself. because all the big boys in that office, and I was fortunate to, have some extremely, extremely experienced colleagues with that company. I think Prudential at that time, probably within the city, had the biggest earners.
Yeah. Anybody that I would know
throughout the industry, big, like Frank Napoli.
Yeah.
Frankie now, of course, took over his father's business. He's a cool cat too. He was in high school when I was working, in Prudential. Like, he'd show up every once in a while, do stuff with his dad, but he was a young kid. He was in high school. And then and Senior was just killing it. Like, he was the guy the first one in the office, the last one to leave, and the guy was just killing it. So every chance I could go, and he was a great man, rest in peace. I try to pick his brain, and he'd throw me nuggets here and there. And I was fortunate. There were plenty of people like that in that office.
Yeah.
And it just, it was an amazing catalyst for me, because that's what allowed me to just catapult into the business. 5-6 years into it, we're at, some of the greatest real estate market that we had experienced. That was the huge boom. And at that point, I started picking up properties. I'm doing well, buying real estate, because everyone told me that selling real estate, you could make a ton of money. But if you really want to be wealthy in this business, you have to buy real estate. And which I tell that to all of our agents now. Anyone that wants to get into business, that's the first thing I tell them. I'm like, if you're in this just for the temporary paycheck, because again, it's not a consistent thing. You know this business. We have the ups and downs, and it's ridiculous. But if you want to build not only wealth, but generational wealth, you have to be a buyer. You have to be an investor. So I started doing that. Then I'm like, you know what? It's pure just instinct for my own benefit. I'm like, I want to dabble into commercial, but as an investor. And one thing led to another. Again, some great individuals in that Prudential office that I was able to, again, get tidbits from. They tolerated me walking into their office, asking questions, and next thing
sounds
I
like
know,
we're a lot alike in this situation.
For sure, absolutely. We don't knock. We just walk in.
Yeah.
It was great. It really was an eye opener. I'm like, oh wow, and the clientele are completely different too. Not to say anything bad about residential buyers, but commercial buyers and sellers, they're businessmen and women. They have succeeded a ton of success in their own industry, in their own type of business and whatnot, and they know what they want, and that's my personality. Is that I hate beating around the bush. What you see is what you get. Tell me what you want, I'll make it happen. But let's not sugarcoat anything. And majority of my clients are like that. Just, we want this. We have X amount of dollars to spend. We want to make this return, and allow me to run with it and find them that product. Versus, that emotional residential buyer that you've had this. We've all had this client that, you put them in your car, you show them 50 properties, you find a property in that school zone, in that community, the floor plan, they walk in, oh, the walls are yellow. I'm like, I'll paint them for you. I don't have that. That emotional attachment doesn't exist in the commercial world, which I love. It's your business, And again, nothing against a first-time buyer or any residential, buyers. It's just a different beast, and I gravitated towards that more.
Yeah, that makes sense. Residential is a lot more emotional, whereas the commercial side is more just logical and financial.
It's business. That's it.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Yeah. You know what? Now I think about it too, is I remember. So when you got to KW, is that when you weren't dabbling in commercial before that, aside from your own stuff, right?
No, I was. Actually, I was. The office, so I left Prudential, I want to say in 09, maybe, in that proximity, 09, maybe 10. did some independent stuff, did some stuff with colleagues in California. We dabbled for a full year of wholesale, bank, pennies on the dollar type of, because everyone was foreclosed.
Yes.
And we had some relationships with banks that, a bank isn't in a business to hold homes.
Mm-mm.
They're in a business to lend money. So we were able to get our foot in the door with certain institutions, and we were literally just getting huge packages and
Cool.
wholesaling those to, hedge funds and whatnot. So that was when the turmoil with everybody, in the market here. Oh my God, what's going on? We were doing phenomenally well.
Wow.
We're just readjusting, and that's the business. You always have to adjust and see what's going on and go with the times.
That's what I've been saying. So it's funny that, we're in this unique, weird time in real estate, right? Where people are freaking out and agents are leaving the business and whatever, just because interest rates are high and the inventory is low and all these things. And it's like, from the beginning, I've always believed, and I don't know if somebody told me this. I'm sure somebody did. I don't know if I just made it up, but that you can be successful in any market, any economy, as long as houses are transacting. So even if they're getting foreclosed, if they're being repoed, if they're being short sold, as long as they're transacting, then real estate agents, millionaires were made during the meltdown there. And,
absolutely.
And that's because they did change. So it's a good business person and real estate agent can flourish in any market as long as you're willing to adapt. And basically what you need to do is change your focus from maybe if you were a residential real estate agent to asset managers and relationships with banks and things like that. So for all the people out there that could be watching, know that is the truth and that is possible. The houses are still transacting. They're just
absolutely
in a different way.
For sure. And even the interest rate, if you think about it, back in the day when my parents first bought a house, and this is probably in the 80s, we used to live in Jersey, then moved to SoCal. And when they bought a house, I think the interest rate they were paying was like 13, 14%.
Yeah.
Insane. Even today's rates, at 6-7%. Yeah, it seems high because we got so spoiled a few years back. But again, that really has nothing to do with it, in my opinion, I think, because what we're trying to educate our residential agents, and like George spearheading the team with residential, pushing the fact that, hey, buy right now. It's going to be a little bit more expensive for you in the sense that your monthly payments are going to be higher because of the interest rate. But take advantage that the opportunities for buyers now, in a sense, are better because you're getting a seller to give you concessions. You're getting a seller that's paying down possibly your mortgage rate, giving you closing costs, so on and so forth. Buy the property, take that temporary hit of the high interest rate, refinance. Because when the interest rates go down, you're not going to be able to get that $500,000 home for less than 550, 560, probably even 600, because you're going to have 10 other offers you're fighting. So take advantage of the opportunity now. Could the rates be better? Of course, but it will get worse in the sense that the prices are, of course, going to get inflated once the rates go down.
Fully agree. And I just did that too. We bought a farm property here. The interest rate, I think at the time we locked at 6.99, but we got the seller to do an interest buy down. So our first year is 4.99, second year 5.99, third year 6.99. Yeah, and I don't care if it's 6.99 at all. Either way, I can afford it. But my point is, if you can swing that, and we got a tremendous discount on the purchase price. So that's another thing for people to think about is you're not going to be able to renegotiate the purchase price down the road. But the interest rates are quite likely to change one way or the other. So I did the exact thing that you're talking. We're preaching to the consumers out there that now is an excellent time to buy. Excellent. If I could pick an opportunistic time, right now would be it. And we never have a crystal ball. Something could change, as we go. But it's forecasted that way.
And our commercial market right now too. It's a little difficult, but there's so we have great growth. This city, especially in the industrial sector, we have never seen better times than what we've witnessed in the past, couple of years. On fire.
That's what I was wondering. So it's on fire right now.
Vacancy rates at some parts of town, we're looking at 1%, 1.5% if you're looking to lease. Lease rates are averaging at about $1.50. And again, this is taking into consideration the hottest industrial spots, which are like the Southwest, compared to North Vegas, which is a little bit more economically feasible. But just an overall average, you're looking at about $1.25, $1.50, which
per square foot, or what is that?
Per square foot, yeah, per square foot per month. And just 4 or 5 years ago, it was half that, which is insane. And to kind of put it into how in demand industrial is, you're familiar with the Terrible's Casino past Sloan, like State Line area.
Yes.
So that sold and is currently being demolished to put like 1 million square feet of industrial.
Yeah, and is that where the mall was too, the outlet mall?
No, that's exactly at State Line. But that outlet mall exchanged hands a couple of times. It's still, I believe, it's open.
I think it's gone.
Is it?
I think
because I've seen the structure. I don't know by gone you mean if the doors are closed, but the structure is there.
Jen said she was just there. I don't remember when. I could have swore, and maybe I have this wrong, but I could have swore she said they've demolished it.
Really, man? It could be. So many things go on.
Maybe it was Terrible's. Maybe it was that. Maybe she saw that.
Because I know Terrible's for sure. Yeah, there's I think just one portion of the old hotel building, still erect, but they're just getting rid of it all, man.
Maybe that's what she was thinking. I don't know, but still, that's incredible. So, do you know what kind of industrial is going to go in there?
Most likely, it's probably going to be like a distribution hub. Because that'll save hours upon hours for certain businesses. Because if you were in the trucking business, right? So
yeah, I was.
Yeah. So truckers can't drive longer than what is it? 10 hours, 12 hours a day?
10 and a half, I believe.
Okay, so having that distribution hub there, instead of going and dropping things off in North Vegas, you're saving a few hours, literally.
Yeah,
so that's going to be
California.
Yeah, definitely. So I think that's going to be a huge impact.
That's super smart.
Yeah,
especially with Amazon stuff. It's
for sure, but Amazon. It's crazy. And what's big right now with the industrial sector too is all these big manufacturers, whether it's Amazon, the Walmart, Target, whomever. Or retailers, I should say, not manufacturers. They need a place to just store their goods. And that's a huge business now. These facilities being, built 500,000 square feet, a couple of million square feet to just temporarily have the storage area for certain businesses. Wow. So they come, they drop it off, and the next truck comes and picks it up. Boom, boom, boom. So that's a huge business now as well.
I didn't even think of that. That is seriously. I mean, I see Amazon hubs going up everywhere, distribution hubs and stuff. But I didn't even think of it on a larger scale of, consumerism and how all that's working, and that would be such a big business. That makes so much sense.
Yeah. And it really, the overhead on a business like that, it takes a ton of cash, of course, build these structures, but it really is a business that's extremely lucrative because you have no overhead. You're basically, 4 walls.
Yeah. Yeah, because the tenant will pay for everything, which is
tenants,
labor.
The triple net, they're paying for everything. You just got to make sure that you have a sound structure, and these things are being built now, brand new. So they're all what's called tilt construction. It's all concrete. So it's going to last forever. Yeah, everything.
Yeah, do they build them down and then lift them up, or do they pour them in place?
That's the entire thing. It's tilt construction, so they pour it on ground and they lift it up. Yeah,
I have seen that. Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, and now there's techniques that you think it's just a beautiful, like a glass structure. For example, if you remember the 215, there's the Capital One credit card building, huge structures, probably about 300,000 square feet and whatnot. And
Where's
it's all
that?
glass,
215
beautiful.
and what?
215 in like Buffalo in the Southwest.
Okay, yeah.
Anyway, when next time you're in town, like if you pass by, look at these structures. It's right by the Uncommons. Beautiful buildings, and they're all tilt up, but majority of it, 50% is all glass.
Wow.
But it's extremely cost effective. They're making it look amazingly attractive. And that's way a lot of the construction is kind of veering to.
Wow, that is so cool. Interesting. So cool. Let's keep going down this path. What kind of let's see here. What kind of commercial real estate do you focus in, and what's your primary dealings?
So a lot of individuals in my field, they want to focus on one just niche. I've dabbled in everything from land sales and acquisitions to leasing to industrial to multifamily to I want to be versed in it all to an extent. Of course, there's individuals that just focus on one thing and they just kick butt. Great. But I never want to be that individual that if you as a client is sitting across from me has a question, I don't want to be like, Shay, you know what? I have no idea what's going on in the multifamily sector. I love it all because I get bored too quickly. So I need a little bit of change. Plus, I just the industry in itself just intrigues the heck out of me. I love it. So I want to know what land is selling for, and what industrial is leasing for, and what's the vacancy rate in multifamily. Do I have a favorite? I'm a little biased because I invest in multifamily, so I could say maybe that might be it. But overall, I love retail. I'm very versed in it as well, and from medical offices to I do it all.
That's super cool because we were talking about earlier, and I couldn't remember, but I remember you and I tried to go in on a couple of deals. They didn't pan out, but remember we were trying to do some stuff with Eagle Rider and that big Harley place and stuff, and that was a retail thing. And I feel like we tried to do another one. Commercial just didn't pan out for me. Like I just couldn't get anything to bite. So I was like, you know what? I'm gonna leave this stuff to Martin, man. I don't even wanna,
Well, you know what? If you ever come across anyone, and I tell a lot of people, it's not for everybody. It's not. And if you're, kicking butt in residential, focus on that.
Yeah.
And people get a little nervous when it comes to commercial. They think, oh, it's difficult. Well, there's some difficulty in it. But again, when we all started the business with residential, it was new. It was alien territory. So
it's difficult there,
yeah. But I tell people you have clients that are businessmen and women, whether they're doctors or attorneys or whatever. Drop a line and say, hey, you know what? If you're interested in commercial, here's this guy, and we could team up and do something then.
Heck yeah. And I would always consider and use you for any of my commercial needs out there. And we'll plug it right now, but we'll plug it too later, is that all your information. So if anybody needs to get a hold of Martin, and even just to pick his brain about how these things work. So if you're an agent out there and you're looking for somebody to partner with, or you want to maybe get into commercial real estate, is it all right if they contact you?
Oh, I'd love it. Please. And, I really enjoy having someone pick my brain. It's my way of kind of giving back because I did that with a lot of agents back in the day. So I don't mind it at all. Give me a call. You have any questions, you want to learn things about the industry, or you don't need direction on how to get into it. There's a lot of amazing designations available out there, amazing courses that, some people take the first class and they decide, commercial is not for me, man. But you need to try. You don't know what you're going to like if you never try it.
Yeah, I agree. And I know that about you. I know that you're a great dude and that you're a giving person and you're genuine and all that. So that's why I figured that you would be okay with people reaching out.
Appreciate it. Anytime.
Now, another question that kind of leads into that, or going with that, is do you, I know there's a fairly decent commercial division at your current office at the KW Las Vegas with, so is there, do you do classes and stuff there? How does that stuff work? I don't know.
Well, so the actual division was launched probably about 8 years ago. I played an integral role with that as well. And, Bernie Cipoletti, veteran of the industry, over 45 years in the business, he kind of spearheads and manages the division. We are up to 15 agents now.
Okay.
And we have a mentor program. I have quite a few mentees that what we'd like to do, we'll hold their hand and show them the ropes. Our approach is a lot different than other companies. We don't like to have a particular agent, sit down and, hey, go read this and do that. And we don't think, just in general, not a lot of people retain certain information by doing that. It's boring. I know I'm hands-on. You're a real hands-on guy. We have to do it for it to, retain. Yep. And that's what we do. We tell our mentees, the new agents, whether they've never been in the business or they want to transition from residential, go and seek a client, find that buyer or seller for whatever, they want, whether it's, again, industrial, land, whatever it might be. Come to us, and then we'll show you the ropes. We'll direct you to what you need to do, what needs to be done. I even go as far as, their consultations. I'm there with them. Wow. I'll probably take over and, do the conversation and be the, individual that's really talking to this particular client. But because I want that agent next to me to see where the conversation goes, what they need to ask, what questions are going to come up for them to be prepared versus, how can you teach someone something that they don't know about without, again, that's just me, without just grab their hand and just toss them in the deep end, man. And that's how we teach our people. And they've been extremely successful. The newbies in our office, I think, did a volume of like 50 million last year. Wow. And these are people that, I've never done commercial real estate. Wow. And some of them have never done real estate. So, our approach works, apparently.
Wow, that is cool. Yeah. But I like the idea of what you're saying is you link arms. You say, hey, let's do this together. And then you get in there and you work on it together. So they're not they're in the deep end, but they're with somebody that's at least seasoned to help.
Yeah. They have, a life vest close by. Yeah. But we've just seen great success with that, and the agents love it. Because, you're not wasting your time. Oh, go to this class. We still encourage them to take certain classes and courses and whatnot. CCIM is an amazing designation to have.
I was wondering, I've heard a lot of people talk about it, and it's extensive, right?
It is a huge national, international network. And commercial buyers and sellers, when they see that designation, they know that agent knows their stuff. Okay. Because it's extremely extensive. It could take, a couple of years. Okay. Yeah. And it's not cheap. It can run anywhere from, 12 to 15 grand. Wow. With all the courses and whatnot. But whoever wears that pin, they know their stuff. Okay. They totally know their stuff. So it's a good thing. So we're always encouraging the education and the designations. But again, there's individuals that make a ton of money without that. But it's a good thing. Even if you don't get the pin, I've done multiple of those courses. That was one of the first things that were kind of instilled in me by various colleagues back in the day. That this is a great thing to do. So I taken the courses, and it makes a big difference. It's a huge eye opener, and because the lingo is very different in our industry. I think, again, not to take anything away from residential agents, we could talk about houses, and I think you could you're new in the business. I'm sure we both did this, and a lot of people do this. You can kind of slide with the amount of knowledge that you have that we had in the business initially. Mm-hmm. Commercial, you can't. Mm-hmm. There's certain things that a client is going to ask for, and you're going to be, what is that? And you just lost that client. Mm-hmm. So education is huge for us. Yeah, that makes sense. You got to know the lingo. You got to know, if someone says, hey, I'm looking for a property with a 5% cap rate. And if you've never heard of that term, that client's never going to work with you. Right. ever.
Yeah.
You know,
They're looking for somebody that's a shrewd business person that understands the ins and outs of what it is they're trying to do.
for sure. And we
Whether
don't
they
know
like
it
you or
all, of
not.
course. You know what? At the end of the day, it's business. They don't have to like you, you know, but they will like that you know what you're doing, and that you're a shrewd business person, and you're going to get things done. And I think that's what they're looking for.
Yeah, makes sense. Whereas like you're saying with a residential, you know, they might like you enough to like let some other things kind of go because they're like, well, you know, this guy's kind of great, you know, and
Absolutely.
Like he sort of knows what he's talking
he's
about.
fun to be with, and when we're in the car, he's joking around. So, but yeah, we don't get clients like that.
Right. No, it makes sense. So I wanted to ask you. I wrote down some questions here. Just a couple things. How many properties do you own? Do you still own a lot of properties? Do you?
Quite a few. Quite a few. It's we're in double digits for doors.
Cool.
And yeah, it's I think that's the way to go, man. You really need to own properties. That's the best way.
Some like big plexes, like do you own like a 20-plex or something like that? Or
no, they're my stuff is in the hood. I love it. I love that sector.
So
seriously, that works for me. You know, you get some of the let's just say undesirable properties, and you make it immensely desirable.
Yeah,
because not everyone's fortunate to live in a mansion, but everyone needs housing, and everyone needs to live somewhere that is nice, aesthetically pleasing. So we try to get these undesirable properties, and not some of them aren't in the best neighborhoods, but we make them look amazing. We make them look like $1 million. Of course, we don't spend $1 million, but and just some people are just down on their luck and can't afford it. So, and that sector's been amazing, and the tenants that we have are some of the nicest people. I've owned properties in Summerlin, very expensive properties, and I wanted to strangle the tenants.
Yeah.
So it doesn't matter where the property is. It's just I don't know. My experience has been I appreciate and I feel better just doing something outside of my area, and it's been profitable. It's been great, and my tenants have always been happy, and that's the goal. I think when your tenants are happy, the money's going to come anyway. So
yeah, no, I like it that you're giving. Well, everybody needs a place to live, so you're giving people an opportunity to have a nice place to live, and they probably and I've always been this way too. I've worked from super luxury homes to super non-luxury east side apartments in Las Vegas or Northeast or whatever, which like I had to carry a weapon with because that's how like super dangerous.
Oh yeah, some of these neighborhoods, that's why these days we just do direct deposit. We don't have to go collect checks.
Yeah, man, I've sold some sketch balls like for $40,000 and like off of East Craig Road or something. Anyway, but it's nice to it typically the people in a more normal area or maybe just a regular income area that's maybe not super high income, those people seem to appreciate what we're doing to help them, which is what I like. I like it when I'm actually making an impact and helping somebody
for sure
with their living needs. So that's cool. Got another question for you. How big is your team these days? Do you run a big team or do you keep it lean so that it's
it fluctuates. I don't want anyone on the team to do commercial. I'm the only within my team with George, and so we have a few buyer's agents for residential. I mentor probably a half a dozen within the division. So I don't have any commercial agents working directly beneath me in my team. We keep it lean. I travel a lot. I don't want to be the type of team leader that isn't there. I don't want to just build numbers and not give them the opportunity. And to me, it's a disservice. So some people have these huge teams, but they're never there. Well, what are you doing for your agent that's possibly paying you 50% of their commission.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I want to be of value, and I don't think I have the ability with, you know, running my own business. And, you know, we're launching a couple of, you know, my hands in various different businesses now as well, outside of real estate, that
Cool.
it's not fair. So we never, you know, I'm not looking into having, hey, I have 50 agents. No, that's not my thing at all.
Yeah. Anything you can share? That's interesting. Like other adventures outside of real estate, or not quite yet?
We just took possession of, we're leasing a building, and we are going to start operating a funeral home. So getting into something that's completely away from what
Wow.
I've done all my life. Yeah.
Wow. That is
It's,
super interesting.
mhm.
You and who?
We're
You and
super.
George?
Me, George, and another business partner that was a client, became a friend, extremely, you know, knowledgeable the industry, and you know, it's going to be good. We're currently doing our TIs.
Uh-huh.
We took over an old.
What's a TI for everybody out
Oh
there?
well, I'm sorry. It's the renovations, tenant improvements
Mm-hmm.
for a building. We took over an old bank,
Oh, cool.
and we gutted the entire thing, and now we're building it to our spec.
Wow. I think that's super interesting, and I think super lucrative. You know,
It
part
really
of
is.
life. Death is part of life, and people need that service to
Mhm.
help them get their final arrangements done. I've
Mhm.
always thought this was super interesting, and so that's really cool, man. Wow. I'm blown
Yeah,
away. I want to talk more about that another time.
sure. This was something that never even crossed my mind, to be honest with you.
Uh-huh.
You know, but
When did it come about?
a few years ago, when you know, met this individual that was interested in expanding their family business
Uh-huh.
to you know, multiple locations, and I just found that, you know, it to be extremely lucrative.
Mm-hmm.
The overhead is very minimal compared to any other business,
Mm-hmm.
and it has nothing to do with, you're not influenced by the economy. You know, you don't have to worry about
Yeah.
Amazon taking over. You don't have to, you know, unfortunately,
Yes.
it's a, you know, a norm of life. People
Yes.
die, and
Yes.
you know, so,
Wow.
but we want to do it in a way that there's too many companies out there that take advantage of families during this time,
Mm-hmm.
and that's not our goal. You know, our goal is to make this as comfortable of, it's the worst day of their life. They're
Yes.
losing a loved one.
Yeah.
So we just want to make it comfortable for them, give them just amazing service, and you know, hopefully it'll be welcomed within the community, that we could grow with the community as well.
Yeah. Yeah. Helping people get through a tough time. That's, I mean, I
Yeah.
don't think there's a higher level of service than that particular situation. So wow, very cool. We'll definitely have to talk about that sometime. We're getting close to end here. What I wanted to ask you is if you had any really good stories about something cool, like a crazy story for you know, a client that was like wanted to buy or build something cool, or something you've sold, or do you have any like really cool, like real Vegas-y stories of about something?
Actually, you know what? Honestly, no, nothing that exciting. I wish I did. I wish I did. But you know, every transaction to me is exciting in a way.
Sure.
You know, because they're all different. You're dealing with different type of personalities,
Yes.
and right now, the cool thing, again, why I really love commercial, is that we don't need to have, you know, 70, 80, 100 transactions under our belt annually. I work with a very select group of individuals. It took
Mhm.
me years to really cultivate these clients. They've become, you know, for the most part, you know, friends. And, you know, nothing exciting happens. It's just normal transactions, but I just love it that it's small. Like last year, I only did 10 deals, but I
Mhm.
was still, you know, up in 1%.
Yeah.
So, you know,
Big
that's what's
deals.
exciting to me. Yeah. You know, and they take time, man. Some of these
Yes.
deals take, you know, 7, 8, 12, 16 months, you
Right.
know, but it's worth it. It's exciting because some of these guys are, you know, big players in the industry. I'm fortunate enough to work with some Hollywood producers
That's
that,
what I was wanting to hear. Like,
but I can't
I
share
know
those
you can't
stories,
say their
unfortunately.
name or
Yeah.
anything, but so some Hollywood producers and such.
So from athletes to Hollywood producers, yeah, that is fun though. But the excitement is every transaction. I'm dealing with a couple that's wanting to just launch a new business, a little side hustle. And the transaction itself, very minimal, but it's exciting because you're going to help these individuals generate some additional income that's probably going to change their entire life. That's exciting to me. Or you see, again, like it's kids, again, not kids, but 18, 19, 20-year-olds calling the office saying, hey, you know what, we have this idea. We want to launch this business. To me, that's super exciting. Wow. Because at 18, 19, 20, I know I wasn't thinking of anything like that. Yeah. I was busy, wanting to go out and have a good time and get a fake ID and, have a couple of drinks with friends. But to see that, that's super exciting. The younger generation is more focused on business and their future success. Wow. To me, that's super exciting. I love it.
That is exciting. I didn't think of you being involved in this area will bring different leads or interactions in that are looking for services in that. I didn't think of that and to think about the young folks coming in with like these business ideas, because I have a ton of business ideas. I didn't really when I was young either, same thing, but after I was old enough to start my own business doing what we're doing here, well, I did trucking a little bit before that, but it's cool that there are kids out there or young adults coming into it with these ideas to go do that.
Super cool, bud. Super cool.
Yeah.
It's refreshing because, unfortunately, we live in a time that our society is kind of haywire these days. And people aren't, I don't know, not a lot of people are doing great, ethically sound things. And to have individuals and younger individuals, thinking of the future and trying to do something positive, and I don't know, it's phenomenal.
Yeah, that's encouraging and uplifting to think about that. The younger
those were the words I was searching for. Yes, absolutely encouraging and uplifting, without a doubt.
Cool.
Yeah.
Well, that's good to know. And you know what? I talked to a lot of agents, and I do talk to a lot of agents even in Las Vegas, and I've met some really cool younger agents in real estate that are just doing really cool things. They're pumped. They're excited. They're doing things differently, and I love it. So,
absolutely,
it is encouraging. It feels good to see that that's out there, and people are shaping the future in a good way.
But like if you look at like 10 years back, how we would do our marketing, this and that, compared to what some of these younger generation agents are doing, it's phenomenal. They're totally looking outside the box.
Yeah.
They're not doing the farming that we used to do, or the door knocking. They're having far greater success utilizing, social media and so many different things. It's like, more power to you, man.
Yeah.
Go. I wish you make 10 million a year. It's never going to take anything away from me, but I love seeing that. It's great, and it kind of gets you a little excited too. You as the individual, like, this is cool. I want to be around people that are doing better in the industry, because unfortunately, real estate or real estate agents in general, whether it's commercial or residential, we aren't looked at as these great. We're like a notch above, unfortunately, with some people's eyes, as a used car salesman, and nothing against used car salesmen, but you know what I mean, right? Like and it's great that they're changing the environment, and like people are saying, oh, you know what, realtors are kind of cool. Like, we need them, and they're helping us out. It's cool. The reputation, I think, is changing towards the better.
Yeah,
and that's my opinion.
Yeah, and well, you're right. And as a whole, probably too, is that a lot of real estate agents out there, fortunately, aren't very productive and or ethical and whatever it is. And I don't mean that. I'm just saying that the vast majority of agents out there don't do a lot of production. So the top 10% do all the production in the whole country, and that's that's the number. So 90% of the agents that people know out there might not be very great or productive agents, and therefore, and they might be part-time, they might not sell anything at all, they might, whatever it is. And I'm not saying part-time agents aren't great, and I'm not saying that low producing agents aren't great. I'm just saying as a majority, that's sometimes where people that are just dabbling and not really being serious about it, and maybe not giving it the level of attention and service that it deserves, could give a negative connotation out there. And then it's people like us that are out there busting our tushies off and doing what we can to help elevate the whole business and community as a whole.
In the industry, absolutely, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
But I wouldn't change it for the world, man. I've been doing this for 23 years. I love it. I see myself always dabbling in real estate, whether as an agent or an investor. Mm-hmm. I love this industry. And you know what? I think between you and I, we've made a lot of individuals happy. Definitely helped them with generational wealth, and we've done a lot of good. So,
yeah,
hats off to us and all the other successful agents.
Well, I'm glad to have been in business with you and to know you and to have you as a business and a personal friend over these years, because it's people like you that help all of us do better, and that we're always working to share and help and elevate. So thank you for your friendship.
My pleasure, brother. It's you're an amazing man as well. One of these days we need to catch up in person.
Yeah,
I know you were in town. I missed it, but just don't recruit me, because no, I'm kidding.
Yeah, well, I won't recruit you too hard. How about that?
Fair enough.
I'll recruit you as much as Gene Freeman did. Freeman.
Oh shit! Oops, sorry.
No, that's okay. No, it's all
right
good.
On.
So what about, let's just wrap this up in one thing. What do you think would be a good way to wrap up this conversation, or what's like a motto you live by, or what's something that you can impart on everybody as, as a commercial agent or just an agent or a business person in general?
We kind of touched on it. To pay it forward, man. I try to every day, if I could help another agent in any way, whether it's a new agent, even a seasoned agent. A lot of people have this misconception that, we're in business on our own. We're realtors. I can't really share information because it's going to take away from me. Those are individuals that come from a very lacking mentality. I'm always thinking there's abundance for everybody. Even if I gave you my book of clientele, I don't think you'd have the same success as I would. Not taking away from your experience and your knowledge. It's just that we've built a certain, connection with these individuals. So I always, I sit down with agents and I tell them, this is what I do on a daily basis. This is what's helped me. And I just want to pay it forward. I want to let them sell more than I do. That's great.
Yeah.
That's the best thing. But it's just pay it forward in any way you can, whether it's advice, whether it's education in the sense of, providing that experience, just give it forward. Yeah. And it comes back too. It's like a boomerang.
That's exactly it. And you were kind enough to do that for me when I started off and busted in on your interview all those years ago. And then
that was a great thing. Absolutely, brother.
Crazy story, though. Well, thanks so much for coming on the show. And
my pleasure. Thank you.
Looking forward to seeing you again soon and talking in person. And for all of you out there, thank you for joining us. Join me on Thursday for the National Real Estate News, and every Tuesday and Thursday at 11 a.m. Central Time, 9 a.m. Pacific Time, we have our show. So we'll see you on the next one. Thanks again.
Cool. Thanks, brother. Thank you. Right. Take care. Talk to you soon.
Yeah, you too.
And again, I like the music.
Yeah, dude. Rock and roll, baby.
That's it. Can't go wrong.